But now we got to get on to our featured story of the night. Here we go. All right, our featured story. And you would think it would be Friday the 13th stuff, but we got to talk about some DC stuff as we do on this show. We got to talk about Batman. We've been talking about James Gunn a lot. We've been talking about the DC universe. We talk about Marvel here, of course. Well, I wanted to bring up Batman because this is something going through the trades right now. And people are asking, because James Gunn has been like, the Flash stuff's been happening. By the way, he took a year of probation. We talked about the Flash yesterday, so he took a year of probation. So that's what he's going to do. He won't serve any jail time. A little update on that. Of course, he won't get jail time. But that's how it goes when you're a celebrity sometimes. And you have great lawyers and great money. It's like that. I remember I was watching South Park and Magic Johnson. He's like, he's cured of AIDS. And like, how do you cure AIDS? He put a bunch of money in a blender and he blended it up and then he drank it. He's like, the cure for AIDS. And he's drinking it, So
wow.
Money. But anyway, so Ezra, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he gets treatment. Hopefully it'll be okay. I did say that. Yes, I said that, everybody. Money. It makes the world spin. Anyway, so DC, let's talk about Batman. So everyone's asking, well, Matt Reeves has had the new Batman movie came out. It's on HBO Max right now. You can watch it. We call him Battinson. Pattinson is Batman. So everyone's been asking, well, with James Gunn taking over, will the Battinson franchise exist? Will Matt Reeves be pushed aside? Well, that's been a question going around. Well, apparently it's going to stick. That's what Matt Reeves is saying. So this is what's been happening. This is from the direct. This is a quote from Matt Reeves talking about his interactions with James Gunn about his Batman franchise.
Reeves noted that he is set to have a meeting with DC Studios CEOs later in the month, noting how hard they have all been working on their respective projects. We've talked a few times. I'm supposed to get together with James Gunn and Peter Safran sometime this month. They've been working feverishly on what they're doing, and I've been working hard with my partners doing what we're doing, all our shows and stuff. The Batman director also teased a small bit about what the meeting will entail, saying that they will discuss, and I quote, what the arcs of these two things are.
Yeah, and he also said, like, I'm going to have to read this whole thing. We're kind of getting late in the show, but he also said we're going to have a sit down and talk about everything that's going on and what the arcs are of these two franchises, because, James Gunn will probably have a Batman and Matt Reeves will have a Batman. So they got to get on the same page. And actually on top of that too, Warner Brothers gave Matt Reeves a deal where they get to have rights to overall a first look of all of his projects. So pretty much if Matt Reeves creates something, Warner Brothers gets the first grab at it, where they can take and decide to put it under their brand, or he can take it someplace else, which is leading people to say, well, okay, if Warner Brothers signed this deal, and this was David Zaslav gave him this deal, who actually runs Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, if James Gunn's in charge, how does Matt Reeves have this deal with Zaslav saying that they get first look at all of his stuff? Well, it doesn't specifically say it's the DC stuff. It just says, well, everything he does, they get to have first grabs at it. So Matt Reeves is saying, my franchise is fine. I have this contract. All my stuff is first grab to WB, so my Batman movies are going to go forward. We haven't had a meeting yet, but we're going to sit down and talk about it. Now, here's my thing I want to say. Okay, he says it's fine. But if James Gunn's in charge, and he said Batman's going to be a big force moving forward in his DCU, what happens with this whole franchise? Now, the movie made money, and people liked it. Again, it has its issues. It was super long, and people complained about the third act. Let me go to Jake. Jake, did you see the Batman? And do you think that, okay, let me ask you that first. Did you see the Batman?
No.
Okay. Well, okay, without seeing it, look at this way. Okay, so James Gunn's in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has his own idea for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
If he's ultimately in charge, do you think that Matt Reeves actually has a stance here saying that his franchise has no worry?
No. I mean, well, who I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, he has a contract saying that Warner Brothers gets first grabs at all of his projects.
Oh, that is a picture.
Did he do Batman Begins?
He did not. He did the Batman, but before that, he did the Planet of the Apes movies. He did the three of the newest ones.
Okay.
And he made that whole franchise. And with that, it led to him getting the Batman through Warner Brothers. And so he's getting first. They're saying that, I mean, it did do well. And so people were saying they said right away before the Batman 2 announcement came, it was like right after the Batman came out, they made a huge announcement saying, oh, Batman 2 is coming. This is before James Gunn got in charge of everything. So to me, I'm worried for it a little bit for Matt Reeves. I think he's being too, chill about this. To me, he hasn't sat down with James Gunn. It's the same thing as Zachary Levi, who's Shazam. He hasn't sat down with him. He's like, oh, I'm fine. Well, your movie hasn't come out yet, right? So once the movie comes out, we'll see what happens. If it doesn't do well, do you think that he's going to keep you as Shazam? Probably not. Yeah. Same thing with Matt Reeves. They haven't had a chance to sit down yet. This movie's been out for a while. It's mixed reviews. It did do really well, but I don't think he can guarantee himself anything until he talks to James Gunn personally, right? So you hear that. Do you think that he's fine, or do you think that there may be some worry?
I don't know. It seems like to me, I've been confused about like the Batman series for a long time. Like Superman, Batman. I've never really. It feels like it's always something different and somebody else's take on the whole situation, which for me it translates into, okay, so which Superman is my favorite one, rather than there just being Iron Man. Like Captain America is Captain America, and there's like kinda, right? I mean, there hasn't been other Captain Americas.
They made Captain America. Anthony Mackie is now Captain America, and now there's 2 girls that are Captain America in another Marvel universe. The multiverse, really. But I know what you're saying. I'm just kind of being an asshole. I'm sorry, Jake.
No, you don't have to apologize. I get I see what you're saying too.
Well, it leads to the question: is this confusing though? Is it too confusing for the consumer and for the fans to have multiple people playing the same character?
Yeah, well, it could be for me, yes, because I get confused very quickly when it's situations like that where I'm like, wait a minute, I have to, if I'm not going to be like, if I don't keep up on something all the way through it, and then I come back later and I'm like, well, okay, what's going on now? Like, okay, I guess I'll go feed the chickens. Like, this isn't fun for me. Like, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. But, I don't really know, I guess. I don't know enough about it to make that kind of decision or make that statement.
Yeah. Sabrina, you hear about this, so what do you think? Do you think that Matt Reeves is fine? Do you think that he has nothing to worry about at all? He has his contract, so he's fine. Or do you think that James Gunn could just shit can him tomorrow if he wanted to?
Well, if I heard you correctly, Warner Brothers has first look at all of his projects, not just a Batman project, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, they could either say we're going to do this or we're going to pass, no matter what it is. So if in the contract it doesn't say anything about a second Batman, then I don't think he's safe at all. And even if he did have a contract that did say something about a second Batman, I'm sure they could do a buyout of some sort and work it out so that it doesn't happen if they didn't want it to. That being said, I honestly think James Gunn is not going to continue on with any of the pre-existing franchises. I think he's going to start from scratch, honestly. I don't think there will be another Shazam. There's obviously not going to be another Black Adam. I don't think that there's going to be another Batman with Robert Pattinson. I really don't. And him having Warner Brothers having first look at everything, like I'm sure they'll probably make other movies of his, but I just think that James Gunn is going to go a different direction than anything that's been done before, honestly.
Yeah, and that was my thing when I read this too. I was like, I don't see how he seems so chill and so cool about, oh, it's fine, I got this deal. Well, how many people had deals with Warner Brothers before James Gunn came in? Henry Cavill just signed a new contract to be Superman, and they let him go, So I don't think he's sitting safe, as people say. They say, oh, it's for sure happening. We just have to coordinate, he's saying, as if everything's fine before they've even had a conversation about it, which I think is just, counting your chickens, as Jake said, before they hatch.
Sure. The best part about that is he actually means that he's going to feed the chickens. Like he actually has chickens to feed. That's true. Not like Jake a saying, chickens. Just so everybody knows.
I do.
How many chickens do you have, Jake?
There's 12 now. Yeah.
Do they all have names?
The only one that I know of is Larry, which a female chicken and lays eggs, but she's the best one because she lays an egg every day. The other one's nice. 4 freeloaders for sure, and then the rest are cool. But Charlie knows all their names. So
Oh, nice.
she's on top of it. Yeah, she's got it all figured out. But
You have to have Charlie on sometime. She'd probably love to be here.
yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
But that's the thing about this whole franchise, though. I feel like there's no guarantees anymore at DC. There's no guarantees for Warner Brothers. No matter what people say, oh, yeah, it's happening. But once I saw that Henry Cavill was fired, it's like, there's definitely nothing. And James Gunn said over and over again, he's doing his own thing. He's got a whole slate coming soon. We still haven't gotten that. It's supposed to come this month. So any day we're going to get a whole slate for him for at least the first phase, as Marvel does. They do their phases. Like, I'm going to give you like 10 movies right now, and I'll give you 10 movies next year and 10 the next year, so you kind of know what's coming, and we're building and building and building. So to me, like what Jake said was like a big reason why I think James Gunn won't keep the Batman around. There's two big reasons. My first one is the confusion. And they've said that before. There've been so many different people, and they're saying it's an Elseworlds thing. Okay, well, it's a different universe. Okay, that's great and all, but people get confused, especially how DC's been so out of whack as it is. Like, who's Batman? Who's Superman? What's happening? So to me, if you're going to do a clean slate and make it right, you got to have one person playing that character, and that's it. Other thing is Pattinson himself. He was very problematic on the first one. He doesn't want to do a lot of these movies. There were a lot of production issues with him, even though the people will try to push under the rug. There's a bunch of things happen with him that he was fighting with the director, delays. I'm surprised they're even dealing with him anymore. I thought he'd be recast after the first one. So does James Gunn want to work with somebody like that? Does he want to let that person in his world? Who knows? They are continuing with the Joker 2, but that was already in production before James Gunn got in charge. So that was already too far gone. I don't think he would cancel something that far gone. They have the Aquaman movie coming out. That was already in the can beforehand. The Flash already in the can. They are doing some light reshoots on the Flash right now. If you haven't heard about that, they're doing some light reshoots in the next couple weeks. They say it's something monumental, but that's happening. So you can't stop that ship. But something like this, where it's just beginning, you can stop that just like that. You can end it. So it'll just take some time. We'll watch and see. But I don't think that Matt Reeves is as safe as he says he is. Even though he had a good movie, I don't know. I don't know if people want that brooding Batman.
Was it good?
They also have TV shows though, Sabrina. There's a Penguin TV show that's moving forward with Colin Farrell playing the Penguin based off that. And there's also another one
that's the best part of that movie. So I am not surprised that he will have a spinoff. He was amazing. Like when he was on the screen was the only time I gave a shit about anything happening in that movie, honestly.
I just watched Minority Report yesterday again.
Oh, he's so good in that too. Good.
That's funny you say that because I was just watching that. I like old stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's great.
So in 10 years, we'll talk to you about the Batman.
For sure. That sounds
If you have like 3 hours and 15 minutes to sit down and watch it sometime, Jake, let us know.
Torture.
It's like 3:15, something like that. It's a long movie. It's just as long as Avatar too.
In the movie theater, it really gave me a backache.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a long movie. It's just, it's good. It's drawn out. It's very slow paced. There are a lot of good moments in it. I just say the third act is like, it's all the Riddler. It's building up to the Riddler. And then the third act, the Riddler is not the villain. It's like his subordinates. What do you do? Anyways, we'll see. I'm going to say it again. I don't think Matt Reeves is safe. He says he is. The trades are saying he's fine. They just have to have a conversation and it'll be great. We align our paths to make sure we're not doing the same thing. We'll see. That's the question for you. Do you think that Matt Reeves is safe, or do you think that he's skating on thin ice? And we'll see what happens.